Hello. Well, it is a very, very early fall day. It's beautiful. It's like 78 degrees. And as you can see, I have Rocky out because he won't have many more days to be outside. And he's as happy as can be. Poor little guy. Loves being outside. So, this is really for me, it's like a vlog, so that next year I can see what I planted and where everything is, so I don't pull things out as they come up in the spring, and what I liked and what I didn't like that I planted. So, all right, Rock, you have to be quiet now. Gotta be quiet, hon. Yeah, right. It's like, that's not gonna happen, Mama. It's just not gonna happen, Mama Bear. All right, the planter. Don't love it, but it's not bad. All right, so I can see what I did here. I have to finish with the stones. I paint it. I got some really humongous mums for an excellent price, like beyond excellent. So I was just going to get 2 smaller ones, but the price for 3 of these big ones was the same as 2 smaller ones. And they're, really nice and tight still, so they'll open up. And then I can plant them. Before the frost, I'll plant them. And they'll hopefully come up in the spring again. So, coneflower here. The yarrow just took off this year. And I really love this. It's Veronica. It's a pink Veronica. And I would take out this anise hyssop and put it on the side yard, and I think do 1 or 2 more Veronica because they did really well. Or yarrow. And if you remember the video I did about the tiny, tiny, tiny little ferns that I planted here, well, they're not so tiny anymore. So this is what they look like this year. I'm beyond happy with that fern transplant. Really, if you find little ferns anywhere, they're so easy. Like, I'll show you. Over here, look, there's just some little ferns growing. And I'm going to transplant them where it's a little sunnier and where they have a little bit more sun. They'll get bigger in the sun. You don't want full sun. They do well in the shade, and they do well I feel like the ferns do well with a little bit of sun, not full shade. That's just my experience with the ferns. Okay, so I want to really take notice of where I put everything. I put basil here, and it did really well. I put some basil in containers, and it didn't do nearly as well as in the ground. And I've got some creeping phlox that hopefully will creep over the rocks. And it's really sunny. I don't know if you could see this. Snapdragons. I would definitely do more snapdragons next year. And these are straw flowers, which I really like these too because they got tall and they're colorful. And then you can dry them or just cut them and use them as cut flowers. And I especially love the zinnias. I mean, I had cut flowers all year with these zinnias. So yeah, that's like a winner for me. All right, so some rosemary. This was a beautiful coneflower, really beautiful. It doesn't look like it's doing very well. I hope it comes back next year. And another coneflower that actually is doing well. As you can see, it's got lots of new buds. And this is going to be a Shasta daisy, which I cut down. It was dying, so I cut it way down, and it's coming up. So I'm just trying to remember where everything is, and it's going to be so much easier to see it on video. Some more pink yarrow, which I really like the pink yarrow. Did a lot of creeping. Fluff here. They're doing really well. This, now why is this eluding me? The name of this. Yeah, you know. What? Like, I just can't remember the name of this. What the heck? All right. Sorry, I completely forgot the name of this flower. But it's supposed to be, this one in particular is supposed to be a perennial and will survive like below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. The other ones don't. They like a warmer climate. So we'll see if this comes back next year. I hope it does. I don't know why I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, this was kind of like, I've never seen them where they come up every year, and she said they will, so we'll see. We'll see. I would not, and I know a lot of you love petunias, and they do look beautiful, but what a pain in the neck to deadhead these things. If you don't deadhead them, you don't get new blooms. And I just didn't have the time this year, and I actually prefer the taller flowers, because you could really see them. Like when I'm sitting here and I look over, it looks so pretty. I mean, the petunias look really pretty too, but I think I'm just going to plant more of the zinnias and of the very tall snapdragons. This is called Super Blue Lavender. The Super Blue has tons and tons of blooms. It's really pretty. I hope it comes back well next year. Should. This is a blanket flower. That's an English lavender. No, it's a French lavender. It got huge. Can you see it? How big it is? It didn't have many lavender spikes, maybe 5 or 6. So hopefully I'll have a lot more next year. All this other stuff is wildflowers. I bought 2 packets of wildflowers in the beginning of the season. They were on sale for 99 cents a pack. And it just took off. I will not do this again. This planter, no, I've got to do something completely different. The blue salvia got too big. The petunias fell over. The whole thing doesn't work. Just doesn't work. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. This is pretty. These things, as long as I cut them off, I deadhead them like this, they did well. I wouldn't do this stupid long thing next year, but that's pretty. All right. I've really got a mess down in my side yard. I had trees cut down, and I didn't realize that when the trees cut down, it would get, well, I knew it would get a lot more sun, but I didn't realize that the weeds would just, and grass would go wild, because now it gets not only sun, but rain. So the cosmos are just a really great idea for down there. If I could make a path, like a stone path, that would be great. But the cosmos did beautiful. And these are like black-eyed Susies. And these were all in the Wildflower packets. So for $2, how can you go wrong, right? Okay, sunflowers. These aren't ready to harvest yet, but as soon as all of the, let me see if I can, as soon as all of the yellow is off of them and they look a little bit more yellow on the top or brown on the top, I can harvest them. And flower seeds, which would be nice. And more sunflowers. And they're all drooping now because they're, it's the end of the season. Okay, so I'm going to do this again next year. I'm going to do them there, and maybe I'll do some at the end of the myrtle. I think that would be good. At the end of the myrtle, I'll make another area for the sunflowers. And I do want to remember that the sunflowers, the chipmunks, I planted 21 of them, and the chipmunks came up underneath and pulled them out of the ground. So I had to spray them like every 3 days with Repel-Zol until they were big enough. And that's the secret here to getting sunflowers to stay in the ground. So, yeah. Oh, they're so happy. Happy little sunflowers. They're giant sunflowers. Actually, look at how big the stalk is on those. I did another blanket flower, and next year I do want to remember that I did foxglove here, and it's completely dead. It didn't do well here, but I'm hoping that I get some seeds. And I want to remember that if I see something coming up that looks like it's a plant, it will be foxglove here. So I hope I get more. And here's the myrtle's doing good. I really have to do something to control all the crabgrass. And I'd like to do more sunflowers at the end of the myrtle. And then this is just a mass of cosmos. It's a beautiful mess. That's all I can say. It's unruly. There's weeds in between. And at the same time, it's beautiful chaos. Nature can have beautiful, chaotic things to it. And these are closed up, but these are beautiful morning glories. That came in the sunflower, in the wildflower packet. You never know what you're going to get in your wildflowers. It'll say, cosmos and black-eyed Susies. It never said morning glories, but all it takes is one seed of something. So I didn't plant them here, but I guess the seeds just blew. And I have 2 sets of goldfinches, and the goldfinches love to go in here. I don't know if they're seed or they just like the feel, because this is really feathery and soft, and they just sit in here and jump around. They absolutely love it, the goldfinches. They're just all over. And this is giant hyssop, anise hyssop, which they're great pollinators. The bees and the butterflies love them. Oh, Rocky's chirping like crazy. Last year I had some gourds and I threw them down here like in November, the end of November. And yeah, seeds took. So let's see if I could show you. Oh, what a mess. That's not poison ivy. That is, I know it's 3 leaves, but it's wild raspberry. I know poison ivy. Can you see that gourd? Ow. The sun is really bright and I can't see what I'm filming here. But there's, I think out of all these, I had 1 million flowers. They just flowered like crazy. And I think I only got 1 gourd, but that's okay. I mean, I didn't even intend to plant them. They just, yeah, I think I've only got 1 gourd. Okay, what a mess. I couldn't keep up with it this year. And to lug bags of mulch is too much. I'm gonna have to either get a truckload of mulch or a truckload of stone next year and borrow somebody's wheelbarrow. Maybe it'll take me all year to make a path through here. So, but it looks, let's see if you could see how it looks. I said the sun is in my eyes and it's in the camera, so I can't see what you're seeing, but I hope that you could see how pretty the flowers, these tall flowers are from down here in the side yard. And I'm hoping that the creeping phlox creep down eventually, next year or the year after. And this all has to be cleaned out in either rocks or mulch. I think at the end of the season I'll put the mums here. Oh, Rock just said peekaboo. He says making pancakes, bacon, and now he's saying peekaboo. It's cute. Bird. This is like a silver, I don't know the name of it. It's a silver plant. And this is all it gets, is silvery. There's no flower. But it got huge. And if it comes back next year, I'll buy more of them. They were inexpensive, and I think they're really beautiful as a filler. And they got big quick. I like it. I do like it. I planted a columbine, which didn't do great. It's really tiny. That columbine didn't grow much, but hopefully I'll get more next year. They'll multiply and they'll be bigger. Oh, I hate to show you my mess. I have to wear tall gloves and lots of clothes because there could be some poison ivy in there before I root in there. I don't like this. This Vinkavine has to come out. Oh, my shadow. Yeah, that was a mistake. I thought it would grow. This is what I was trying to do. See, I was trying to, this is Creeping Jenny that I put in my planters, And then I just take the creeping Jenny, throw it down here, and I wanted it to grow in between the rocks like it's doing here. Let me pick this dirt up. But yeah, that vinca. No. Bad idea. But if it comes back up next year, I'll put it in a planter. So hostas always do great. And these hostas got a lot more sun this year because my neighbor cut down trees. So I have a lot more sun, and the hostas still did good. Yep. And then that's kind of like a little pathway to my backyard, which I don't ever use my backyard ever. I just sit on my deck. I don't use the backyard. It's all lumpy and bumpy and has lots of rocks, and it's small, real close to the neighbors. So I spent all my time this summer really up here trying to get this situated with the flowers, this area, planting and seeing what I like. And I realized that this is a battle that I can't win unless I put down some landscaping, I guess you would call it a landscaping paper or plastic, and then throw either mulch or rocks over it. And this thing's cool. I had no idea it would travel this far. It was a tiny little plant. I mean, you've seen these at the garden center. I'm sorry I don't remember what they're called, but it was tiny. It was like $5. It was a little tiny one. And I put a trellis in a pot, and it went wild. It's all over the ground. I don't know whether I would do it next year, but maybe. A friend of mine gave me some balloon flowers, which this is the first year with them. So they didn't bloom really well. As you can see, here's one that did bloom, but it's the first year of these. And it was really dry this summer, so I didn't get down here to water it as much as I should have. So I'm hoping that next year it'll come up, very, it'll have that whole year. The next year they usually come up vigorously compared to the first year. So I'm hoping that I have a nice vigorous season from now on with those, along with everything else that I planted. Okay. Pretty sure there's no poison ivy in here, but I'm careful just to make sure. I would not do pansies in here again. That's pansies, and it's in the shade, and I thought they would do good, and they don't. Once the spring is over with, pansies just don't do well here. So I think I would just take that whole planter out of here. So you can tell I'm off of a main road even though I'm up on the top of a mountain. These things are cool. I would do these. They're called Love Lies Bleeding. Yes, you heard me right. Love Lies Bleeding. And I saw them at the same herb farm that I bought the Grand Duke of Tuscany years ago. And they were huge. They were really tall. And I planted them too late this year. And I don't think they got enough sun here. And the soil isn't rich enough for them. So I would plant them earlier next year if the garden center has them. Much earlier. And I would put them in more sun and maybe, really enrich the soil. Because when these are tall and these hang, they look really cool. But, and I've got a yarrow here. So I want to remember that's where the yarrow is. This will all be much easier to clean out in the early spring, and then put down landscaping stone. I'll tell you, my biggest mistake so far in my gardening venture was planting mint. The mint is, I can't get rid of it. It's incredibly invasive. I keep pulling it out and it keeps coming back. If you do mint, put your mint in a pot. Don't put it in the ground. Yeah, it's kind of like these little sarsaparilla trees. Keep pulling these sarsaparilla trees out. Sarsaparilla or sassafras? Sassafras. Close enough, right? This is not poison ivy. This is creeping myrtle or Virginia creeper. Virginia creeper. Has 5 leaves. But when it's brandy new coming up, sometimes it does have 3 leaves. And actually some people can be allergic to that. So if you don't know, you see that in your yard and you're not sure, wear gloves anyway when you pull that out. And as far as I'll show you, where is it? It's all over the place here. As far as the wild raspberries go, it does look like poison ivy, but the way you could tell, can you see? It has stickers. The stem has stickers. They're thorny. So poison ivy doesn't have thorny stems. And wild raspberry does. So that's one way to tell. And you do have to wear like heavy gloves to pull those out because you'll get stuck. Okay, so that is everything I did this year. Doesn't look like a lot because it's so overgrown, but it took me a long time. And this is a mess. This has to all be, the crabgrass just took over. And so I think the only way to control crabgrass is to put down landscaping, plastic and rocks or mulch over it. How long am I going now? Almost a half an hour. Is there anything else that I wanted to remember? I don't think so. I think this is everything that I wanted to remember that I planted. What I like, what I don't like, the layout, and where to look for like next year when I see all this coming up. I don't want to pull it out thinking they're weeds. So I know exactly where everything is. you doing? You making pancakes? You making pancakes here? Huh? You making pancakes? I heard you say peekaboo. 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 Good boy, Rock. Okay, so that's it. Say peekaboo, Rock. Peekaboo. Bacon, bacon, bacon. I know you're baking, bacon, bacon. What are you doing? What are you doing? Making pancakes? What are you doing? What are you doing, Rock? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you making pancakes? You making pancakes? Making bacon pancakes? I just want to say it now. You love being outside. You love being outside. You do. You're such a good boy. You're a good boy, Rock. You making pancakes? You making pancakes? Making pancakes? He sees the camera. It's like, I'm not going to say anything with that thing in my face. I'm not going to say anything now. To peekaboo. All right, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and I hope that you enjoyed the tour of everything that I did this year, because I will be looking at it in the springtime, God willing, and I'm going to get myself ready for a yard sale tomorrow because my screen storm door broke. And so now I have to have a yard sale and hopefully make up enough money to at least get a decent one. I don't know. Always something. Always something. All right, bye-bye.